젖은 미로 속에 우린 저벽 넘어서로 볼 수 없지만
Turn it up, turn it up. 네 마음을 들려줘요. It's running time, yeah. 내 손을 잡아요.
달려가는 달려가는 높이 저 멀리 달려가는 높이 저 멀리 돌아보지 않아 정말 원하고 있다면 날아가서 하늘 끝까지 날아가서 하늘 끝까지 긴 날개를 펴고 alright
Yeah, run till the end.
It's a beautiful evening in the island of Sodor, and all the engines were already getting ready to go to sleep. Well, usually some are preparing to go to work. Well, you know, you'll get the rest. Sorry, got something in there. Oh no, I'm watching something. Alright. Let me tell you something here. Let's just say that the engines in the wintertime, they're all telling ghost stories as Brewster is telling all of his friends, well, new friends actually, his trip from the Christmas tree with Thomas. And then, when Thomas bumped around and said, "Happy Holidays, everyone," he blows it out loud. A giant Christmas ball fell right on top of him. Hey, that wasn't funny, you know that? I was there. Well, we all have a great laugh. You and the pups did. Wow, I say you must have a very lovely Christmas, didn't you? Well, you won't believe that we just see... We even took a picture taken with Ryder and the other pups. Hey, take a look. See? Wow! I see! A very lovely last year's Christmas photo. Say, one, the rest of the other pups and kittens aren't involved in this. Oh, they're celebrating Christmas with their other friends and family. You get the point. Well, I must say, it really is a very lovely Christmas holidays back there. Yeah, except we're not exactly tired. Hey, I have an idea. Like the narrator said, why won't we tell each other ghost stories? Perhaps that will tire out our eyes. Well, it's gonna be better than the ones from the year before the last. In that Halloween episode, we didn't exactly spook ourselves to death with that ghost story. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right, Henry. And we weren't even there. Well, I say it's kind of funny, though. And ridiculous. Sorry. Well, I think one of us gonna have a better ghost story. Say, Oliver, do you... Yeah? No, wait, never mind. Well, I definitely have a good ghost story. And this would spook you way better. Sure about that, Gordon? Yeah, I'm sure. Just listen. This was only at least 50 years ago, before the Paw Patrol ever existed. The year was 1971. The engines worked hard on the railway, and the trucks, well, they sometimes like to play tricks on them. But there is one truck that enjoys hurting them rather than playing pranks on them. The workers don't know what happened and say what's wrong. But let's just say something isn't right with his mind. See, this truck is very dangerous and very evil. And there is no good about it. But when engines pull it, they end up coming downhill to a terrible accident, and innocent people may get hurt. The engines were quite scared of it, so they put it in the siding to be sure no one touches it. But of course, that's until one foggy day. When one day, it was a very foggy day on Sodor. And Paxton, well, the little green diesel, the one that keeps appearing and reappearing over and over again, just popped right to, well, he was asked to take a load of coal to the harbor, but usually the fog was so thick, Paxton didn't notice that he had coupled up to the evil truck. The workers didn't realize it either. They couldn't see the mistake. The evil truck knew it. He whispered to the other trucks. They sat there. Not long now, till Paxton is setting off to the misty fog, unaware of the danger ahead. In the meantime, while Paxton is pumping straight down on Gordon's Hill, the evil truck gave out the call. Wait for my signal till we start pepping them straight down. Paxton is still pumping slowly as quickly, and well, that's where it all happened. The trucks gave way, start pushing him down the trails. On! They screamed. Hey! What's going on? He shouted. Unable to stop, Paxton quickly speed down the line. His driver applied the brakes, but to no avail. Oh dear. Oh my! How could I stop? Before Paxton could think of any way to apply his brakes, he tumbled off the tracks downhill, straight down to the misty fog below. The evil truck applied his brakes, stopping in the middle of the track, waiting for the sound of a crash. Paxton rolled down quickly and fast as he went, and straight to a cottage. He shouted, shining his eyes, as straight down to the cottage and then to the wall. No? What happened? Crash! The evil truck just stand by and hear the sound of crackling wood splinters and bricks falling and the screams of the innocent lives in the building of the cottage. Silly Diesel should have watched where he is going, he said. The other trucks were horrified, especially Scruffy. "How could you?" Scruffy said. "I thought you said we're going to scare Paxton! You're psychotic! I can't believe we would listen to you! We were supposed to trick Paxton! We're not supposed to get him into a horrible accident! We made lots of silly accidents before, but not something like this! And how could Gordon not remember that we were carrying wood instead of coal? This was a long time ago. Don't swear it! Sorry." The evil truck didn't care. He just laughed and laughed out loud at the battered splintered wood and bricks on Paxton while laying dazed and unconscious right on the rails. It was a very shocking sight. And that day, it left a deep scar on the railway. Paxton is repaired, but not to mention his memory. The evil truck was sent to the scrapyard. Sir Tubman gave him the order to be sure that he's been cut up for reuse. And that ever since that day, Sir Tubman is aware to be wise and careful not to bring any evil rolling stock on Sodor. And it's that same day that he'll never make the same mistake again. Wow, Gordon. That is one scary story. Ooh. Most better than Percy's last year's story. Hey! Well, sorry. Well, at least that's all there is. Come to think of it, how's Paxton's doing? Well, basically on the true fact, see that he still had no memory about what happened, especially about that evil truck that'd been sent for scrap. Well, as long as he won't remember saying it, as long as he doesn't, appear and reappear on the track saying, guys, are you expecting something to happen? Yeah, I'm expecting Paxton to start shouting out, guys, and give us a jump scare startle. Well, I think he's already in the shed sleeping. Alright, who's turn to tell the story? Oh, mind if I tell you the story? Well, sure thing, Toby. Whatever you say. Well then, allow me to demonstrate. This ghost story is all about a little harmless tank engine named Stanley, and he was about to be haunted by a ghost. There's once was a little silver tank engine named Stanley. He's a cheeky little engine like Thomas, but very useful and always gets the job on time like any other engine would. He's very friendly. Tonight he just pulled a goods train to another railroad, and he's already on his way back home, but soon yet to feel a little exhausted. During the meantime, Stanley was puffing around the railway to find a place to sleep, to spend the night before continuing his journey home. His driver noticed an old shed up ahead. This shed looks old, but we'll spend the night there until we are ready to continue off in the morning again. I don't know. Looks pretty old and unsafe to me. Well, it's not like we have a choice, said his fireman. I really should get some beauty sleep. After all, well, I did say we should have stayed back at the other railway before we could continue our way back to Gamforth. Well, I did say I'm sure we could make it back home. And of course, I did have a couple of work later on in the afternoon. All right. Let's just spend there for the night. And so they did. And before they know it, they're already fast asleep. But not for long. For Stanley, of course. Huh? Hey, sir. Hey, driver. Fireman, what was that noise? I think I heard something. It's coming from the back of the shed. Hello? When Stanley noticed something, his driver and fireman weren't there at all. But he hardly noticed it. Stanley looked right again and saw the very dark mist. What is that? Yikes! Holy smokes! Stanley was so scared, he rushed out of the shed, pumping fast as his 6 wheels can carry him. Oh my! Oh dear! What was that? As Stanley pumped faster and faster, he noticed he's headed straight to an unfinished line. It seemed that a bridge used to be there, but it's collapsed. Oh no! I'm on a disused track! Driver! Fireman, apply my brakes! As he shouted, his driver and fireman weren't there! They disappeared! Oh me! Oh my! Oh no! Oh help! I can't stop! Stanley jumped faster and faster, straight through the broken bridge where it once was, and jumped right off the rails, down the ring below, then crash! Horrible. Just horrible. Yes. It was a very horrifying sight. And they were never seen again. But some they say, when you puff across to an abandoned shed, don't rest your engine there, or you might get your crew. Then when the mystery claw of a white ghostly hand pops out of the back of the shed and trying to grab you, you run. But when you run, you can never stop chuffing until you reach an accident. That is the most scariest story I ever heard. Stanley, what happened to him? He was never seen again after the accident. Some say he was puffing away trying to get home. And some say his scrap remain is still in that ravine. In a disused line. Well, your story can't be scarier than mine. Maybe so, but mine is. And it's, well, kind of an untold story. What was it? Well, it's just an old legend. But I could tell you. But you might get scared about it. I only tell this story so no children is around to know about it. But not only that, I only told this story so people could learn, engines could learn and not think about making a mistake or trying to get fed up with a very mean kid. Just get on with the story! Alright, fine! It's about the unstory of the ghost engine. With a number 0 on it. I really hope I won't regret this. It was a foggy wintry night on the railway, and there's a little tank engine called Timothy. He's the same shape as Thomas. Well, I know the color is a little different, but you get the point. With a number 0 painted on his side, well, almost, and a little bit different. And his 2 coaches, almost like Annie and Clarabelle, were nearly full of passengers. One of them even have a very greedy controller inside it. But you'll find out next time. The guard blows his whistle and it's time for them to go. Full steam ahead, Timothy, said his driver. Sure thing, he said. All ready to go and all set. But as for Timothy, he seemed to have an evil plan in his mind. And just then, they set off into the wintry cold night. Not long now, the driver and farmer headed to the next station. But for one purposely reason, Timothy should be slowing down. But one problem, he didn't. He just kept on going. The driver and farmer anxious. Timothy, what are you doing? You just passed the station, he said. They were worried, but Timothy didn't answer. He just kept going and going and going and going and going. Suddenly, they realized something. They went on a disused track and parked straight on the wrong line. Both the driver and fireman noticed something. A bridge where a viaduct is supposed to be built isn't there. Timothy, don't! You'll kill us all! He shouted. But Timothy didn't answer, and he wasn't listening. And something happens into that night when Timothy is almost on his way to the bridge, around a bend, across of straight doom.
I'm gonna send you all to the scrapyard.
That's what he said. By plunging straight down the track, he plunged right into the gap, shrieking like a lost soul, carrying 50 souls along with his crew and coaches, straight down to ravine and in below. Crash! Any lives in those coaches are lost. Timothy and the passenger train had burst into flames. They're never seen again. Did the crew... Did anyone check if they're alright? Well, Thomas, I'm afraid that all those lives and that train is gone. And usually I was new on the railway and heard about it right after the viaduct was finished being built. And sorry to say, I'm afraid that's the only story I heard. But it was already became a legend. It's all long gone. But who knows? Timothy seems to... His spirit might be still somewhere around. Maybe his restless spirit is still there. Oh dear. Those poor passengers. You know, come to think of it, I think a controller before the Fat Controller used to work on this railway, and he seemed to be pretty selfish. And I think he was on that train before he, well, you know. Whoa. Well, you know what else I know? Henry hasn't had a turn yet, and he's the last one. Okay, Henry, you like to tell the story? I don't really... No, I don't think I should. I do have a true story, but... Oh, come on, Henry. Perhaps your story might be scary as theirs. I think I might as well keep it to myself. Henry. Just tell the story. Okay. If you all insist. Oh, I definitely insist. Here it goes. This story is about the evil engine.
Many years ago, there was an engine who worked on a faraway railway. He was never given a name, or should I say, never lived long enough to be given a name.
Henry paused impressively.
You see,
He continued,
all engines, when they are built, are friendly and hard-working. But once in a while, engines come out bad. And I'm sorry to say that this engine came out very bad indeed. No one knows how he came to be built or what led him to do the things he did, but he left the path of destruction that haunts his controller to this very day.
Thomas and Percy looked wide-eyed at each other.
The engine thought himself to be a premier engine from a famous lineage, but he was actually an experimental engine, using only parts of other steam engines. The parts didn't fit together very well and made him very mean-spirited and somewhat unhinged. He was painted blue, but probably should have been painted black. It was not uncommon for the engine to insult the others and resort to light sabotage, such as bumping them without warning and misplacing trains over small, petty squabbles. He was also easy to anger and had fits of rage, taking it out on the trucks and sometimes engines smaller than he was. One day, he buffeted onto one of these smaller engines and pushed him to the edge of the turntable well, threatening to knock him in if he didn't cater to his every whim.
Edward suddenly gulped, as if a bad memory had flashed across his mind.
The big engines were furious and confronted him about his awful behavior. "Stop bullying engines smaller than you!" they said. But he wouldn't listen. He continued to play spiteful tricks and threatened that if the big engines ever told the controller about it, he'd make them pay. The two big engines, thoroughly fed up, got up very early one morning and met the controller at the station. They told him all about what the engine had done, but the controller's hands were tied since the engine was on loan. "I can't do anything but put in a report to the engine's company,"
Henry said, mimicking the fictional controller. What happened then? Asked Toby.
Well, one of the big engines left to take a train, and the other remained at the station trying desperately to plead their case. It is said that the bad engine was passing through the yard at the time and saw the big engine. Needless to say, he was immediately suspicious. He confronted the big engine in the yard and said,
I told you not to tell anyone. You'll get yours.
The big engine just laughed, believing the engine only to be bluffing.
Henry suddenly paused. Edward, Gordon, and Henry all looked at each other. Gordon gave a motion of the eyes, encouraging Henry to keep going.
But,
Henry said,
he was most assuredly not bluffing. The next day, the big engine was pulling an express train through the junction. When suddenly, and without warning, another engine careened into the back of the coaches. There was an awful noise as wood, metal and stone splintered everywhere. But what was worse was as the noise of the wreck subsided, the screams of the passengers inside those coaches became louder and louder.
The other engine's eyes were glued to Henry. They didn't dare make a sound.
The bad engine, knowing the big engine was just up the line, had intentionally missed a signal and plowed into the back of the express train to get even. The sight of it was awful. The 3 rear coaches were smashed into smithereens, and everyone inside those coaches,
Henry gulped.
everyone inside those 3 coaches perished.
The other engines gasped.
The big engine screamed,
You've killed my passengers! You've killed my passengers!
but the bad engine didn't care. He just laughed. The controller came and, seeing the mess, sent the engine for scrap. If the controller had only listened to the big engines, the lives of those in the coaches might have been saved. So that is the moral of this story. Stand up to evil and fight until the very end, or the evil might just turn you into ghosts.
Henry gave a loud whistle, making everyone jump.
Ooh! Ah! Spooky! Said the chuggers. They were most afraid of the story. Wow, Henry! That was way scary! Said James. More scary than the other 3 stories. Emily replied. I must say, Henry, you definitely give a good spook. Almost like it's a true story. Or is it? I don't know. Looks kind of fake to me. Oh, shut up, Oliver. It's very nice, isn't it? And Henry. I thought Edward's ghost story about that strange-looking tank engine with the number 0 on it is, well, a lot scary. But that one is almost scary as the last story. I don't know about you guys, but I hope that bad engine doesn't really exist. If it does, I really hope that we're never gonna see that thing in person. much as they hope my name never see it in person again. I might have to keep my nightlight on. And I think I better tell it to the smaller engines at the narrow gauge railway. That night, everyone went to sleep. But as for Henry, he's feeling exhausted. Gordon Atwood then comfort him. Do you think anyone knew about that? Only James, but he was still young back then. He didn't know much about it. And I thought our story from the dark times of the fallout is worst. Well, it's now with 98472. It's even worse. Do you think Sir Topham had definitely scrapped the bad engine, Alfred? I'm not sure, Edward. But one thing for sure, I hoped we'll never see that evil engine again. And as long as that bad engine stays gone, the better it is for our railway. The next day, all the engines are already hard at work, and they're busy than ever. Toby and Diesel are taking a set of brand new Hot Wheels cars to the next station, and also to a market as well. But they couldn't get over about Henry's ghost story. Say, Diesel, you know, I did made up the ghost story about the engine named Stanley puffed straight into the ghostly shed that nearly tried to grab him, right? Well, yeah, but I'm just not sure about both Edward's and Henry's ghost stories. Especially the first one. You think all that stuff is real? I don't know. But I have been hearing ghostly tale stories back then. Usually, it's all just a faded memory. More like it's just a legend. That I do hope that is fake. If they're not, who knows? Well, whatever they are, real or fake. And if they were real, let's just be glad there we won't be seeing any of those dangerous monsters again. And especially about the bad engine. And who knows? Maybe somewhere in the future we might meet a new enemy. Please don't start with that, Toby. It's all I could stay focused on. Well, that's the end of my tale, and all the end of this episode. Until then, I hope you might enjoy my other videos. And yes, I did finish this episode last year, but I'm not sure about the rest. But the next one is going to be all about Pokémon. And yes, it's going to be very interesting, because to you, this is going to be an awesome episode. Well, this episode is scary, and I know it should be a Halloween episode. And I know, yeah, I kind of made it a little rip-off on someone else's video. But you know, I just got a small space. I need a few engines, but they're quite expensive. And, yeah, I kind of borrowed someone else's voice. Oh, I didn't steal it, alright? In case you're wondering, I didn't steal it, okay? I just only did to make the episode more interesting. And that's what I did on my Tommy Thomas and Friends episode. And if you got a problem with that, please don't complain about it. Or at least swore about it. And what do you think this? Hell of a boss? Just let it go. Man, I really hate it when I get upset like that. Well, to an end. Right now, I'll be dusting my computer and... oh, come on! Seriously? We're not doing this anymore! Oh, forget it. Well, see you again soon.
Level 1.
Let's go!
Thank you very much for watching one of my Bachmann, Thompson Friends videos. And this is Maya, and she's my dog.
Exactly. It stands for
Maya,
Bureau
look
of
at the-
Animal
look at the
Defense,
camera.
Blurpsburg,
Look at the camera.
Upper section.
That's a surprise. You got it all wrong. Turns out the bad guys have been good all along. Ha ha ha!
Okay,
I
that's
wanted to
long
share that
enough.
with you for the